As we enter 2021, one of the things that's top of mind for me is the risk for nonprofit professional burnout. I really think in this environment, there's always been a risk that nonprofit professionals would burn out, right? These are really hard jobs, and people oftentimes feel underappreciated and undercompensated and like they have more work than they can ever get done. But I think in 2021, the environment is really unique, and we all need to be mindful about how we can create sustainable, healthy work environments for ourselves and for our colleagues that are really important to us. So it's causing me to go back and think about something we developed in 2013 at the place where I currently work, Augsburg University. So when I started at Augsburg University in 2012, my team was in a very challenging campaign, and they were stressed, and they were feeling like they just could not see how they were going to succeed. And so together, over time, we built something called the Sustainable Leadership Model, which made all of our work feel more comfortable and more rewarding. And in the end, we ultimately finished that campaign. And it's something we've been going back to, but I think that I want to share this with the new folks on our team and also with people who aren't on our team, because I think there are elements to this sustainable leadership model that could benefit a lot of people in nonprofit organizations. So in this video, I'm going to do a quick overview of what the sustainable leadership model is, and then in subsequent videos, I'll get more in depth into each of those elements. So in an environment where people are at high risk for burnout, I think individuals can do things to help prevent and heal their own burnout, and there are things we can do collectively to ensure that we as a team, as a division, as a nonprofit organization prevent burnout. And the sustainable leadership model is something we developed that I'm a fundraiser, I lead fundraising teams, and it works particularly well for the groups that I lead, but it probably could be applied for other nonprofit teams and organizations too. So this sustainable leadership model that we built has 3 different aspects to it: leading self, leading others, and leading for the future. And inside each of those, there are elements of new language we developed to talk about our work, some new skill development, and in each of those areas, we made values-based commitments to each other and how we were going to work together. In leading self, we would, a way that you implement leading self as a value on your team or for you personally, we did a retreat where we did Strengths Finder, and we've also done other sorts of inventories of work styles and preferences and communication styles and communication preferences, so that we all can continue to boost our own self-awareness, and so that we can be really appreciative of the styles and preferences of others. And of course, I can't tell you, in my nonprofit career, I've probably been on 20 different retreats where we did something like Myers-Briggs. But I think the thing to do to take it a little bit further is once you've develop some self-awareness, how do you put that into practice? And I think that's a really important part of leading self. Then inside leading self, we also developed a language called drive, fuel, and signal. Drive is where the rubber meets the road. What are the deliverables you're responsible for in your position? And under drive, we developed a practice of doing performance evaluations and work check-ins with supervisors every 90 days and making sure we came into agreement on what those deliverables are. Fuel is a practice, an expectation that every person in our team is responsible for making visible what resources they need to be successful. And then those resources are negotiated in partnership with our key performance indicators, so that nobody feels like no one understands how under-resourced I am. No one cares if I'm under-resourced. People feel like there's no connection between resources and the goals that are set for them. That fueling concept brings those together and says, make visible what resources you need and use that as part of the negotiations about what your key performance indicators are. And signaling, like a car signaling the right-hand turn, we have an expectation of practice and how we work together, that we make our work visible to other people, that people understand our goals, they understand the benefit that we bring to the organization, how it fits into the overall strategic plan. We frequently signal our progress toward goals. We also, as part of our signaling, make sure that the community investment towards our particular work is understood by other people, so that stakeholders know how the puzzle pieces fit together. And then, the organization I work for, we are historically Lutheran and Minnesotan, and people don't like to brag. People don't like to talk about themselves, but we make sure that part of our signaling is signaling our own contribution of what we bring to the table as far as our skills and abilities and our expertise, so that they're appreciated by other people. And although it's really, really hard to talk about yourself, it's hard for people to appreciate you if they don't have any understanding of you, and so we make that visible. So that's leading self. Self-awareness, appreciation for other people's styles, and drive, fuel, and signal. And then inside leading others, that's where we talk about how we do performance evaluations, work planning, and create agreements about what we're going to try and accomplish together. And then leading for the future, that is primarily based off of, if you've read the book, The First 90 Days, I'll put a link to it in my comments section. In that book, he talks about creating shared expectations about what situation you're working in. So oftentimes I find in nonprofits that maybe leadership hopes, sees, understands a particular environment, and people who are working in the organization see a completely different environment. They don't agree on what the situation is. And so part of our work is making sure that if we're responsible for a discrete set of work inside a nonprofit or organization, that we assess what the situation is and we make that visible to other people. And if we need to do consensus building so that everyone is on the same page about what that situation is, then we do. Because then everybody's in the same boat, heading in the same direction, and it can resolve a lot of conflicts and misunderstandings. So that's the big overview of what the sustainable leadership model is. It's a kind of complicated organizational design, but it gives us shared language and a shared vision about how my teams are going to work together. We lead self, we lead others, and we lead for the future. And if you're interested in learning more, over time I'll be building out a collection of videos that you're welcome to use to whatever extent they work for you. I'd love to know what you think about them. Just put something in the comments below or contact me directly. And if you subscribe, then we can stay in touch about all of this. I'm also hoping to use these videos in other sort of ways too, but I'm not going to talk about that right now.